Good evening, and welcome to another episode of the JFDI Podcast. I'm a little bit scared about this one, but more excited. It's the second time we've done a pre-recorded one, and this evening I don't have anybody waiting in the virtual green room. It's a little bit different, so anything might happen, because for the first time since we started doing this, it's actually got two big firsts here. So it's the first time that my guest is actually joining me in High G's. And for the first time, we have a young lady joining us this evening. It's not just any young lady. It happens to be someone I know extremely well. The one and only Heather Rose Richardson, my eldest daughter, is joining us this evening, which, as we discussed this earlier on, makes the questions that I ask her, what can I not know about her? Well, we shall find out. But in the truest sense of JFDI Podcast, we have 4 songs of Heather's choosing that she's going to talk to us about. And then I'm going to ask her some other questions randomly, as we do. So let's see how we got along. Welcome into High G's, my daughter, Heather Rose Richardson.
Hello!
Thank you for doing this.
Well, thank you for having me.
It's an interesting attempt, isn't it? We were talking earlier on. We were going, how are we going to do? Do I face the camera? Do I face you?
I'm sure we can alternate throughout.
Yeah. Welcome to High G's.
Yeah, it's cool.
It is, isn't it?
Yes, it's cool. I do like it.
Well,
maybe not the jungle attacking me, but I do think it's cool.
That's been your sister's doing. It's her that got me onto the vines, and I think that we're going to have some more because I like them.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So, what do you know about this?
Nothing. Absolutely nothing. I've not watched any of them. You've not had a woman on before, have you?
No.
Well.
No. Do you know why?
Because you don't like women.
No, I love women. But the ones that I've asked have told me to beat it.
Oh, I would never.
I asked your mother.
She said no.
I've asked a few other ladies and they've said no.
Well,
I do have a long list of other ladies that I've not asked, because when I spoke to you about it and I knew that this weekend that we might have a slot, I was like...
Want me to be the first?
Yeah. Shall we talk about your chins?
Yeah.
Right. So the what you've missed bit is no more than I've explained to you. 4 or 5 tunes, people come on and they tell a little bit about what that song means to them, and it's, for those that I guess you would call, like my friends, old
people, yeah.
It might have been songs that have been kicking about their life for a number of years, that have meant something, and they've just, that song's always come back to them. It's like that song's under their skin, part of their DNA, or so at your tender years of 19 and younger than not only the First Lady, but younger by far than anybody else that's been on, we might get a different choice of songs, but I say that.
Well.
So the first song that you've chosen is?
The first song that I've chosen is Little Black Submarines by the Black Keys, because I think it's the most important one musically for me. Like, that kind of acted as the transitional song into what my music taste is now, I think. Because I first heard it when I was probably like 14, probably Charlotte's age, and that like paved the way, I suppose, for the kind of indie rock sort of alt music that I like now.
Okay, I see. So at that point in time, tell us a little bit about the music you were listening to
garbage,
at that time.
Absolute garbage. Probably it would have been like 21 Pilots and like Panic at the Disco and Green Day, like the emo phase music. I don't get me wrong, Panic at the Disco never goes amiss nowadays. But yeah, maybe not the rest. So
what did that lead towards then?
More of like the Black Keys.
Yeah.
Like just kind of what I'm listening to now. So like Royal Blood, and
Right.
then into more like Miles Kane, Arctic Monkeys, Last Shadow Puppetsy type area, and now sort of JBT, Magic Gang, Sadara Karma, bands like that. So kind of it's very much all the same genre, or thereabouts.
Yeah.
I think it more led to that genre and to the love of that genre, I think.
What do you think it was about that song specifically?
I don't know. It just made me feel something, man. Like, it's just a very good song. I think it starts off very, guitar-y, doodly-doodly-doo, and then just when it kicks in, you're just like, oh, amazing. It's just great.
See, there's songs that do that though. There's songs that, like you say, they just give you that feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, that kind of it takes me back. It takes me back to a time, a place. I can normally remember people. I can normally even remember like smells. I can remember, what I'm seeing, what I was wearing, what I was feeling at the time. What sort of, what of those do you remember? Do you attach to that song?
Well, see, the actual when I was introduced to it wasn't particularly an enlightening platform, I suppose, because it was in an episode of Supernatural.
Oh, okay.
So the way in which I found the song isn't important.
What episode of Supernatural was that in?
I cannot remember. It was one, how sometimes they kind of start off from the perspective of like the victim. You get to learn a bit about the victim and you're like, oh, this is quite different. It's quite interesting. There's no Winchesters, there's no monsters, and then they get like ripped apart by a werewolf or something. And I remember, it was like building up. I honestly can't remember. It was just this guy, I think he was going to get a gun or something. And it was the like the start.
Yeah.
And I think, if I remember correctly, I don't actually know if it got to the kick-in point with the I think that it was just the start, the guitar kind of soft part, little black submarines, and I was like, this is quite nice. I quite like the guitar in this, and so I went away and I listened to it, and then I'm like, oh, this is quite nice, and then it gets to the part where it kicks in, and I'm like, whoa, I didn't hear this before. I like this.
You see, that is that's amusing for me, and because I kind of think interesting that you've chosen that song. I'm kind of trying to get to the root of that, and we come across Supernatural. When you mentioned your 4 songs to me, I was like, I wonder if like Carry On My Wayward Son will be on there somewhere.
Need to let it go.
You've heard that song too many times, haven't you?
Need to let it go. I'm an older woman now.
Your sister still listens to that. That's still on one of her playlists. Supernatural's been a massive part of your life so far.
My life.
Is it your life?
No. No. I just really liked it when I was younger.
You still watching it with your mum now?
No. No, I'm not. It was a long time ago.
What are you gonna do? This is the last season.
No, it doesn't. No, it's not that important to me now. Next question.
Oh dear. Okay, you don't want to talk about Supernatural.
That's not what this is about. This is about music.
Oh, it's about music and any other question that I feel that I want to ask you.
My agent's looking at me, telling me to move it along. So
move on to your second song then.
Thanks. No, second song.
Yeah.
Which was okay, Best Part by Daniel Caesar, which I don't know if you'll have heard or not, because it's but it's newish. It's it's not from the olden days like you are. It's a very nice. It's very different to like the genre that I just preached about loving. It's kind of like soft. It's very like soulful. But I just like it because it's mine and Sham's song. Mine and my partner's song. and it's just nice. Just the lyrics are very nice, and you know, it's called Best Part, and it's like, you know, if life is a movie, then you're the best part. It's quite nice.
Crikey, did you hear the conversation I was having with your mum? You didn't. You were out this
Was
morning.
it? You telling her that she's the best part?
We were talking about the analogy of if your life was a movie.
Then you're the best part.
That's what we were talking about.
It's just about how like this person is like the best part of your life and stuff. And like, you know, there's like, you're the coffee that I need in the morning. You're the sunshine in the rain when it's pouring. It's like the negative bit, or like, you know, it's like you're the best part of these aspects, these little aspects of life. It's just a very sweet song. I like it a lot. So
in addition to Shan, what are the 5 best parts of your life right now? There you go. You can have 5 or more.
I don't know.
There you go. From the tiny little things. You mentioned coffee there. You don't really drink coffee though.
Tea.
But what are the 5? What are the 5 things? Tea.
Good cup of tea. My family.
Yeah.
My friends. Shan. My purple hair. I
hope it comes across purple with the lights. We even like set the studio up properly. It does look in purple.
Yeah. Tea, family, friends, Shan, and purple hair. That's all you need in life, right?
Food. Favorite food right now.
Pepperoni pizza. Never changes. I'm a simple gal.
So we've done this question before.
Favorite food.
So not that one. I've asked other guests as well. If you could only ever eat one meal again for the rest of your life, what would it be? Pepperoni pizza.
Well, I don't know. It depends. Like in this hypothetical, is the one food that I'm eating gonna affect me as if, you know, I was just eating pepperoni pizza all the time?
Yeah.
Well, then no. I would end up greasy and spotty and chubby. So it would need to be like.
Yeah, but then you see, that's the question. It's like, you know, all of the things that are conducive to a healthy life. Would you want to eat like salad or vegetables for the rest of your life?
I feel like some sort of, I don't know, anything that you would, if you were to just eat one thing for the rest of your life, you'd get bored of it. And
I think it's a silly question.
Yeah, really, it is a bit of a silly question because there's very many variables to consider. You know, like some sort of nice wee like vegetable stir fry or something, you know, It's got like loads of fun things in it. But realistically, if you were only able to eat one thing for the rest of your life, it's a sad life. You don't have much motivation to eat.
Right, here's one for you. Because I know that we were talking about some conversations that you were having with Business Gateway people about creativity, right? Yeah. I'll let you tell my listeners.
Let me plug it.
We'll let you talk.
Do you think your listeners would be interested?
Absolutely.
Your demographic.
I completely do. Yes.
Okay.
I completely do. And if they're not, they need to be.
Okay.
But the conversation that I was playing back in my mind was about the guy that you've been speaking to, advisor, and saying that this idea, it could be make you millions, right? And I think that the potential myself there for what you're trying to do is absolutely amazing. So pitch yourself into the future, 6 months, a year, 5 years, whatever, right? And you've got at your disposal right now, you've got 100 million quid.
Holiday.
What would you do? What would you spend it on?
Holiday.
100 million. You wouldn't spend 100 million on a holiday.
A few holidays. Holiday home. Island.
Island.
Yeah. I don't know. That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Well, firstly, me and all my pals, I'd like I buy as an island. We go on holiday into the island.
Yeah.
Then.
Am I one of your pals?
I'll buy another island for like family.
No. No, you're not. You're my father.
And then with the leftover, you know,
So the other 99.99 million.
Well, there's lots of like fun things I'd do: islands, holidays, travel around a bit, get a wee motorhome and go beep beep everywhere.
I think you could probably have a big motorhome with somebody driving it for
Yeah,
you.
Chauffeur, personal chef, personal trainer in the motorhome with me.
Yeah.
Masseuse.
It's becoming a motor castle.
Yes. Yeah.
In the east wing of the motor chateau, get a hold of Jeeves to pick up the offload. I think that that we have the garage on the back of the motor chateau. So I'll be taking the helicopter to.
Gerald, what's on the menu for breakfast today? The croissants, is it? Yeah, so lovely.
It's a big motorhome for 100 million quid. You would travel.
Yeah, I travel.
You would see the world a lot.
Yeah.
Taking the word of creativity. Tell people, because people are like that now. What's creativity?
Creativity is, and I can say this now, it is my business.
Yes.
It is my very small business. It's basically a platform that exists to promote LGBTQ plus art by LGBTQ plus artists, and also host and organize frequent queer themed events. So for example, we've had an LGBTQ plus monologues night, and online we've got a feminist and LGBTQ plus scratch night coming up, and potentially an in-person event soon. So yeah, it's just an opportunity to allow networking between queer creators and help to amplify their voices and their work.
Amazing. That's my daughter. How cool is she? See, I get to say that now because this is my show. And if you don't like it, switch it off. That's my daughter. So cool. Business owner. Hey, I'm allowed to.
Yeah.
Right, listen, so serious question. All right, that is brilliant. We've been talking a lot about the things that you've been doing, and kind of how you've been moving forward, a lot of the initiatives that you've been involved in. But I'm interested to know, right, as a young entrepreneur making your way in the world, what is the biggest challenge that you've got right now, and how are you going to overcome it?
With creativity.
Sure.
I don't know. Kind of maybe time. Because it's easy to dedicate a lot of time to it, and like I'm not getting paid for the time that I'm dedicating to it. So, which I don't really mind, but when I'm doing over like 10 hours a week, that's a lot of time to be not really seeing an actual monetary or a return. Yeah. And so I'm scheduling, like I have like an hour or so scheduled every day of the week to just dedicate solely to it and try and just focus on just doing that. And I feel like I could do more. I could expand the reach and I could do all these things if I just had more time. But then equally, if I'm putting in more time, I'd need to see a return. And people have said, get a team, get a board of directors, get more people on board. But I think that leads into another issue of like ego, probably. I just don't want to bring other people into it. Where do I get that from? I wonder.
It's your baby.
It's my baby. Yeah.
It's your baby, right?
And I think at the moment, I'm fine at the moment because, there's not a massive amount that I'm like drowning under. And with technology, I can like automate quite a few things. Why get humans when I can get the robots to do it? So yeah, like time and ego probably, but there's nothing that's like pressingly disruptive.
Yeah.
At the moment.
And I guess the time that you are dedicating to it, it's weighing up the lack of return there, but based on what you get out of it personally, emotionally.
Yeah.
Because you're so attached and feel so passionate about the cause.
Yeah, no, and I do love it. I met up with my friend today and we were speaking about he has like kind of volunteering commitments that he does. And he was saying about there was one that he used to do that I was like, oh, you're not doing that anymore. And he said, well, I wasn't enjoying it anymore. It was becoming something on his to-do list. You know, it just became something that he needed to check off. I think when it gets to that point, that's when you need to reevaluate, but it's not at that point anymore. You know, I'll find myself, although I've scheduled these slots of time to dedicate to it, I'll find myself doing it first thing in the morning because I'm just so excited to just start doing things and just, you know, kind of work away at it, because I do love it. I love it. So until it gets to a point of negativity where it's just a checklist point, then I'll just keep on
doing it. Yeah, there you go. Yes, I know. I wonder how you take some of those things from, eh? Next song. Let's do the next song.
Next song is probably the most unknown and controversial to your demographic of listeners, because it's the song "That's What You Call a Dream" from Bonnie and Clyde, the musical. I'll elaborate. I felt this had to be included because I've got it tattooed on my body. Yeah.
Go on.
Well, so in 2019, I was in the Edinburgh Fringe performing as a character called Blanche Barrow in a production of Bonnie and Clyde the musical. And through this experience, I met some of my like really, really close friends now. I met some amazing people. I had some amazing opportunities. It was a fantastic experience, the Fringe, and like all of the many things that spurred out from that. It solidified that I wanted to live in and around Edinburgh. So that helped with my decision for going to university at Queen Margaret. And yeah, I just had a lot of fun. And I don't think I would be the same person or in the same situation without that experience. So the song "That's What You Call a Dream" was my character's like big solo song about how she wanted like a simple life, and you know, she just wanted to be like a mother of 3 and like on her rocking chair with the candles gleaming in the house and whatnot. And it's very much opposite to what I want in life, but the song, she says, "Now that's what you call a dream," and like I feel like it just means a lot.
It happened at an important.
It happened at a very
life.
important.
It was a bit
time.
of a crossroads moment. It was a sort of a decisions had to be made. You made decisions. You're happy you made those decisions.
Yeah.
You kind of you're in a different place geographically, sort of emotionally, spiritually, a whole lot of that now.
Yeah.
Based on what happened at that time.
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask you the question now that everybody else that watches this will be saying, you better ask that question now. So Blanche's dream was something very simple, and you said, quite the opposite of what you dream for. So what is you?
Well, I think because Blanche...
What are you dreaming for?
Blanche, she sings a song to her husband, and he's very much like...
You're never going to have a husband? Like?
No,
unlikely.
her husband is off robbing banks and causing mischief and doing all this, that, and the other. And she's like, "Yo, I just want to settle down and simmer down. So that's my dream. But I don't really want to simmer down. And not that I want to rob banks, but like I want to go. I want to be doing stuff. I want to be taking names. Like writing checks. I don't know what the saying is. I want to be blah," and and she didn't. So
you want to be out there hustling,
on the grind,
There you go. What comes into that dream? What does that look like?
Money, stacks of it.
Fame,
fortune.
What does creativity look like 10 years from now?
Big. I don't know. Running like all these events, all these in-person events, and like we've got art flowing left, right, and center. We've got exhibitions. We've just got lots and lots of events, and we've got like a steady income through that.
There we go.
Yeah,
got lots to do.
Aye.
It's a good job that you're only 19, isn't it?
Yeah.
But you know what we said about 19?
Not 19 forever.
Not 19 forever.
Pull yourself together.
Right, okay, in those 19 years, let's give you 3 people.
Okay.
3 people that have played. And so, for the removal of any doubt here, right, no need for any smoke, because obviously the question,
I was going to say, you just wanted me to fluff you up.
Yeah, so this is about you,
Mhm.
okay, not me. Okay, so let's be sure. Karen, what you're watching, this is about Heather, not about me.
It's all
So with the
about
exception,
you.
right, we're not looking for my name to be mentioned.
Okay.
Take me out of the equation, because obviously I'm there. So apart from me, right, who would you say have been the 3 most influential people in your life?
Mum. I'm not allowed to say you. Obviously, my parents shaped me to be who I am.
Yeah, okay, so 3 other people outside your parents.
Not family.
Yeah, maybe other family members. Okay, 3 people outside family. Yeah, let's not upset anybody.
Influential.
Yeah.
People in my life. Shan.
Yep.
Andrew Barron.
Mr. B.
So
while she's thinking about the last one, Andrew and Heather just had breakfast this morning. I picked her up, and he was looking well. I said, "Hello, how you doing?" to him. And Heather and Andrew have been friends since like nursery. I think you were like 3. You must have been 3 or 4.
Probably.
And they've like kind of grown up, gone through primary, gone through secondary together. He's off at uni. Heather's at different uni. They don't get to catch up very often. So that was nice today. It's always good to see him. Yeah, good shout.
Influential.
Yeah. Any teachers in particular, or any other, or maybe a relative? Or we can move on.
Yeah, I was gonna say move on. I can't think. I have no idea. I've had lots of little mini influences throughout my life, throughout my days.
Okay, so let's move on to, before we move on to your 3rd song. In fact, no, we've done 3.
Yeah, well, I've got one more.
You've got one more?
Yeah.
Right, okay, so before we do your last one, this is a bonus one.
Okay.
Right, because it's still music.
Okay.
But we've done a few gigs together, right? And
we've been to a few gigs. We've not performed. We're not like a duo.
Yet.
Yet.
What are you saying? If I ask you on air, you can't say no.
I can. I very much can. Thank you. No.
Pinster and Hev.
Oh, no. Next question.
What's the best live music experience you've ever had?
Take that.
Just like that. You told me the Charlatans was better afterwards.
That's a fib. I was probably just trying to be nice.
You did go from seeing Take That, for which, by the way, my shoulders.
That was Take That was the first.
Do you know what?
Concert.
I think that's when I got wonky.
You've always been wonky.
I think that's when I got all like lopsided. Was after having you on my shoulders for
it's horrible.
So that was. Tell me about that gig then.
That was the first gig I've ever.
Whereabouts?
Ever saw.
When? Who was there?
Where was it?
Hampden.
When I was probably.
Was it the Progress tour? It was when Robbie.
Yeah, Robbie Williams was there.
Robbie.
Well, he did his wee entrance, like couple songs in.
Did Take That did some songs, didn't they?
And then Robbie came in.
And then they did that thing. I think I put a video on YouTube of that. They did Shine with a big caterpillar.
Yeah.
And then they went in, and then Robbie had that big video wall.
Yeah.
Thing where he was like, you could see him at the back of the video wall as an image going punching to get out. And
then he was on like a wee
harness.
And
then this thing he opened, and then he was on a harness, and he like came down from the heavens.
Yeah.
So let me entertain you.
Yeah. How old was that? 12?
You were still heavy. Well, I've had you on my shoulders for about 2 hours. No, you must have been about. How old were you? Yeah, maybe. Were you 12?
The fine details. don't matter. But yeah.
Maybe, you must have been younger than that, because what age were you when we went to Kendall Calling?
Like 12.
Was that
11, maybe.
Was that not?
Maybe I was 10.
I think you maybe were 10 or 11.
Age is just a state of mind.
So that's still your favourite live experience?
Well, I don't know. I just said that off the bat because it was the most like.
It was pretty.
That was a performance.
It was pretty impressive.
Very entertaining.
I have to say.
You want me to say? I know what you want me to say.
No, I want you to say what your favourite live experience.
I want me to say Chemical Brothers.
That was pretty. But again, you see, that's different.
Yeah.
That's a live experience unlike anything else.
Mm-hmm.
Predominantly because of the light show that they put on, because it's like, the music is digital. It's not a bunch of people on a stage with guitars and drums, and it's a very, very different experience. It's one that, like, the first time I saw them, they blew my mind out because, well, actually for a number of reasons, but I've
never really went to a gig and left being like, that was rubbish.
Right.
Really. Like, yeah. I get very emotionally attached to any performance that I see.
Yeah.
Like,
do you not find when you were saying songs like that, like you said about Little Black Submarines, and you were saying it's just one of those songs that just kind of makes you feel like that way, that there are songs that you remember hearing at gigs as well, and they kind of have that feeling, but actually being at a gig at the time for the entire duration instills you with that feeling.
Yeah, like Florence and the Machine, when I saw them, incredible, because there was a moment where she was like, right, everybody, I'd like to ask you all to put your phones down and stand up, and we're all going to connect with each other, and we're going to live in the moment. And I was like, oh my God, Florence! It was just awesome because everyone put their phones down, everyone stood up, and we're all just like, yeah, we're all just feeling it. She was in her flowy dress, just like an absolute fairy, like just being like, and we're all gonna connect emotionally, and we're gonna be present, and we're gonna live off of each other's energies. And I was like, okay, I'll live off your energy.
That's what the JFDI podcast is all about, man. Living off each other's energies.
Yeah. Right.
We don't have the tunes though.
No.
I get it though. I get it though. And you get different sort of flavours of that, different types of emotions from different gigs as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
But always they affect me in that way. Like
usually if I go to a gig, like because I like the band and because I've been following the band and because I like the artist, like, I'll enjoy the supporting acts, and then the artist will come on and I'll usually cry. Usually. Sometimes I've went to gigs like just like off the bat, like just seen it as a gig on, been like, oh, I'll go with that, why not, music. But then when I went to see like I went to see Panic at the Disco and Brandon Urie jumped through the stage as like fire shot up, and I just saw him and I was like, I don't know why, I just get emotional. But that's okay.
There's nothing wrong with that. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. It's a bit sad when it's Panic at the Disco, but nothing wrong with it at all. You know that the last time we did a pre-recorded podcast,
what?
The one that went out on your mum's birthday on the 13th was with Paul Mort.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh, I've got.
And guess what? One of Paul's.
Was it a Panic at the Disco song?
Yeah, High Hopes.
Really? Come on, Paul. That's not one of their best.
Morty, what you saying?
Like
Heather's calling you out. I'll send you the link to the bit. Do you know what his explanation for High Hopes as well?
Oh, because
it's kind of. And well, we talked about hopes as well, because I think we went into that. We talked about, having hopes is good, but actually
always want to be that one in a million.
If you're living your life on hope and not doing anything about it, then kind of.
Some of their better songs, like Let's Kill Tonight. That's a good one. And that's on one of their older albums. Can't remember the name of it. But yeah. Anyway, stop about Panic at the Disco. We're not going back there. We're not going back there.
Oh, there's little avenues you don't want to go down.
No, well, because it's embarrassing.
What other avenues do you not want to go down? Like Hannah Montana?
That's different.
Angie Benji?
Miley Cyrus is incredible.
I tell you, we could just actually look in here and shine a light, and I could like grab some stuff.
Aye.
From your past.
Miley Cyrus's new album,
Like
Plastic Hearts. That's music. That is good music.
We were talking about that as well. We had that on the other day.
It's good.
It's good. We did this thing where we chose a cover, or where we had a sort of play a cover where we think the cover, this was in family, we were at a dinner table, play a song where you think the cover is better than the original. I
very controversially put on Heart of Glass.
Yeah.
Because Blondie's not my, not my cup of tea. But Miley Cyrus, she's the whole teapot.
There you go. This is the next generation. Got to listen to them. And you know what? I was never. I was never a massive Blondie fan.
It's just
I mean, it's an iconic song,
yeah.
but what Miley Cyrus has done to it,
the comparison,
she's booted it up the arse, really.
Because her voice is so powerful and
so
growly,
gritty and growly. It's gravelly,
and then you just
isn't
hear
it?
Blondie, and then Miley, yeah.
But that's the thing, and we were saying like back then in the day, like Debbie Harry was seen as like a bit of a,
Times have changed.
Not half.
Do you want my last song?
Yeah, man.
My last song.
Yeah, man.
Is Zombie by Jamie T. Less sentimental value behind it. I just think it's a class song. Just love to boogie to it. It's just good. It's just a good song.
It is a good tune.
It's just a tune. If you want a boogie, if you want to feel good, you want to cheer up, you want to boost. Put it on. It's a good
Zombie.
I do like Jamie T a lot. Been listening to a lot of his stuff lately.
So that's got nothing to do with another one of your favourite childhood pastimes. I say this like childhood pastimes. This is like sign of a bad father. How old were you when we started watching Walking Dead together?
Fairly young. No, I did. It wasn't even just Walking Dead. I did have a massive zombie obsession, and that's when it started. Then that's when I found the song. So
around that time
was around when.
And ironically, they
naturally.
never call them zombies in there once.
No, well, no,
they don't.
No, not in Walking Dead. Well, in the comics they did. See, we're spiraling again. But I used to just love zombies. I wrote a lot of zombie apocalypse stories. Yeah. I had a lot of zombie survival books and plans.
Yeah.
And then I found the song, and it's a good song. Yeah. All
right, here's a question for you.
Okay.
You're lined up for a night out. Creativity is the biggest thing on the planet, right? It's massive. Absolutely. You're like a household name.
Mm-hmm.
And the cast of The Walking Dead have got in touch. However, there's only where you're going. There's only space for 4, so you need to choose 3 of the cast from The Walking Dead to go for a night out.
Daryl, Michonne, Maggie.
3.
And...
That's it. Done. 3.
Oh, was it 3?
Yeah.
Oh, easy.
Okay, 4. You're allowed 4. So Daryl, number 1.
Michonne. Maggie.
Yeah.
And
if you had a 4th, no Rick Grimes on there.
Nah. I don't know. I'd bring Negan just to spice it up a bit.
Yeah.
Just add a wee bit of edge. See what happens.
Well, there you go. There you go. I was going to ask that as a slightly different question, because you love the theatre as well.
Yes.
Musicals. So if you could choose, what I was going to ask you was if you could choose 3 characters from any musicals for a night out with.
Characters
for a drink. So it was like
drink.
It was like a drinking session. I know you're not a big drinker. You're only 19. You don't drink lots. And all that. Yeah.
Well, I've been off the musicals lately. Really, so this is a hard one.
Is it?
Well, yeah. For a drink, I'd ask Blanche Barrow. I'd ask from Bonnie Clyde the Musical. I'd ask Ronette from Little Shop of Horrors, and I'd ask Little Red Riding Hood from Into the Woods, because I've played 2 of them and I was gonna play another, but then the Fringe got cancelled because the apocalypse happened. So I'd want to be like, what was your thoughts on my interpretation of you? What any tips for playing you in the future? What's happening?
All right then.
There
we go. There was that. I've got a couple of other questions. I was looking to find one out, but there's one I ask everybody.
Okay.
And that is, so we call it the JFDI podcast because at the time I kind of wanted to start this, wanted to have some conversations around music, but also kind of, asking people about where those songs meant things and there was important decisions in life. Like you've kind of said, a little bit was the case with the little black submarines at that point in time. In fact, all of them have kind of had a little bit of, decisions made and stuff like that. But at the time when I started it, the whole JFDI approach was like, how would I do it and what would I do it? And it was like, I don't know. It's about you just actually just fucking do it. And
language. So
there we go. So the question I always ask people that come on here is, how do you apply your JFDI? Can you think of an example of in your life where you've made a decision where you've not really had a plan? You've not really had, because I know this is kind of like where you're a little bit like your mum, and like without a plan, you kind of start, need a plan. Mm. But there are aspects of that you kind of go, well, it's okay. The plan is this. I might have a plan that's very loose, but it's still a plan. So where would you say that you've made a decision which is a big, just like a kind of a gamble or a bit of I don't know what this looks like, but I'm just going to go for it, and just throw yourself at it?
I mean, I think I'm a very organized person. I don't like to make decisions unless I know, and this is very planned out.
Weighing up the pros and the cons.
Yeah. I think that I just do it. Or no, that's Nike, sorry. We're going to get taken down. I think I just freaking do it every day. Like I just get up and I don't really procrastinate. Yeah. I don't mess about. I just get up and I do things and I just get stuff done.
Right. So less time on like worrying, what might be, what might happen, who might think this, but what if, I'm not good enough here, this, that, and the other.
Don't bother with that. Cut out the middleman. Just do it.
So I love that. And I mean, it comes as no surprise because I kind of know you and, but what would you say to anybody, because we did touch on like my demographic, the people that kind of tend to watch this.
Oldies.
Yeah, oldies. Right. What would be your advice to any of my listeners that might think, do you know what? I'm not doing it. Is there any advice beyond, well, just fucking do it? How would you advise people to go about, trying to apply more of that kind of mindset?
Well, I'll tie into a very interesting conversation that we had with my little sister Charlotte, your other daughter, the other day. Yeah. We were talking about free will, and she was, the debate of, do we as humans have free will? Blah blah blah. And she was like, yeah, we do. You can do literally anything you want. And she separated it into two categories, in that there are consequences and there are extra steps. So, in free will, you can do something. I could turn around and I could kill you, and then I'd have to deal with the consequences. Or there's this type of free will where if I want to be a millionaire, there's the extra steps, which, you work for it, you build it up, you save, you make smart choices, and blah, blah, blah. And so I think that ties in with what you're saying and just doing it, because you can literally do anything you want. Literally, within the laws of nature and physics, you can't fly on your own with like levitational abilities, but you can get on a plane, you can do anything you want. So just do it. Like, what are you waiting for? Especially all the oldies that are watching this, you're not got long left. So
Brilliant. I love it. What a brilliant place to close. One more question. Okay. A really, really quick question, because as we move, you mentioned getting on a plane there.
Mm-hmm.
So when you can get on a plane,
Mm-hmm.
what country abroad would you like to go to first?
Don't mind.
Somewhere that you've not been before that you'd like to go to.
I'm not picky. Anywhere that'll let me in.
Well, that was a little bit less definitive. Is there nowhere that you've got like in your mind that you think, you know, I'd really like to go there?
Not really. I mean, you know, everything's kind of uncertain at the moment for making plans like that. I've got bigger fish to fry rather than the next place I'm getting a tan. You know.
So you've got a clear view on where you're headed over the next sort of 12 to 24 months, have you?
I'm sure I'll figure it out.
Fantastic. I'm sure you'll figure it out as well. It's been an interesting 19 years so far,
Thanks.
hasn't it?
Yeah.
I could not be prouder of you. You've written a bit as well, haven't you?
Yeah.
You like to create yourself artistically through a bit of writing.
Yeah.
As well. We don't know who she takes that after, to be honest. If you were to write a book, clearly this is no tie-in to the disappearingscotsman.com. You can still get paperbacks, ebooks, some 5-star reviews written by, read the review that this one wrote about it as well. Anyway, plug done. If there was a book about your life, what would the title to the book of your life so far be? And what would the blurb read?
The title would maybe be Tiny Woman Takes on Big World.
And the blurb? I want to read it already.
I don't know. Maybe no blurb. Leave him guessing.
There you go. Tiny Woman Takes on Big World. No blurb required. You heard it here first. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
That has been insightful, enjoyable.
Yeah.
And a first on 2 levels.
I'm glad I could
first
make
lady
history.
Guest and first physical guest as well. So to everybody for watching, thank you very much. From Heather, it's goodbye.
Goodbye.
Tune in next time on the JFDI podcast. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you for coming along. This has been a lot of fun.
Thank you.
Toodaloo.